video is going to be dedicated to trading quotes. This is something that I've been wanting to do, probably for myself more than anything, for quite some time. I'm not very big on reading books, trading books, even though I have quite a few on the list of my to-do list. It's hard for me to set aside time to read books to learn how to trade, but as time goes on and as I discover what kind of personality I have through the years with trading, I realize that having these rules and these guidelines that we follow is actually very important, probably more important than even knowing how to trade or how to read price, is to know how to lock yourself in psychologically to following a set of rules and to being disciplined. So these are actually just a handful of trading quotes that I've collected, and sometimes I refer to these after I'm coming out of a losing streak or after I'm discouraged or feel like giving up, and it really helps me to see the forest for the trees a little bit. So with no further ado, here are some of the trading quotes which I believe are extremely important to follow. Plan your trade and trade your plan. Keep records of your trading results. And the best way to keep records, in my opinion, is to open a myfxbook.com account or several accounts and actually link your MT4 account to MyFXBook so that you can keep a record of your trading results. Even though it can be discouraging when you have a bad run of trades and you see your equity curve start to go down, it's very helpful to be able to see that. Keep a positive attitude no matter how much you lose. Don't take the market home. This one for me is very important. I've had days where I've come out of the trading room after having maybe stayed up all night because I had a really rough go at things, and it terribly influences my day or the rest of the things that I have to do. This is something that I still need to learn how to do, to be able to go to bed at night, not think about the trades that are open, whether I'm going to lose money or make money on them, but to be able to disconnect, set boundaries, set targets and stop losses, and then go to bed and forget about them. Easier said than done, but this is one for me that really hits home. Continually set higher trading goals. Successful traders buy into bad news and sell into good news. Successful traders are not afraid to buy high and sell low. Successful traders have a well-scheduled planned time for studying the markets. This is one point that I've just recently added to my weekly schedule, so that one day a week I will have a slotted amount of time for just looking over the market, studying my trade plans and any changes that I'm making to my trade methodology, and really just dedicating some time to get a grip of what kind of trading plans I'm using. Successful traders isolate themselves from the opinions of others. How many times have you entered a trade long and then you go into a group or a forum and you hear everyone saying, oh, we should be going short, and then you close your long as a result of the opinions of others? This happens to me all the time. Sometimes it works out good, and other times my initial position would have been just fine. Continually strive for patience, perseverance, determination, and rational action. Limit your losses. Use stops. Very important point. This, if you are not doing this, it will turn around your trading results. Never cancel a stop loss order after you have placed it. Place the stop at the time you make your trade. Never get into the market because you are anxious because of waiting. Avoid getting in or out of the market too often. Losses make the trader studious, not profits. Take advantage of every loss to improve your knowledge of market condition. The most difficult task in speculation is not prediction, but self-control. Successful trading is difficult and frustrating. But the thing that I see in this quote, which is actually a key to trading, is that speculation is not the hardest part of trading. You can draw some trend lines and support and resistance and have a basic idea of where price is headed. But self-control and knowing how to stick to your trade plan is much more difficult than being able to speculate or to read price action. Always discipline yourself by following a predetermined set of rules. Remember that a bear market will give back in 1 month what a bull market has taken 3 months to build. What happens for me is that when I have a string of good trades, I start to feel more and more confident with each win. And when that happens, it becomes a danger for me because I feel like my ability to read the market is getting better and better, so I'm willing to risk more and more. And if I've doubled my account or made a certain amount of progress on my account in a short amount of time, I feel, why not risk more? And it's happened several times for me where I've given it all up and even then some after having a string of good trades. So the lesson for me on this line here is to not give back what you've worked so hard to gain. Don't ever allow a big winning trade to turn into a loser. Stop yourself out if the market moves against you 20% from your peak profit point. You must have a program, you must know your program, and you must follow your program. Expect and accept losses gracefully. Those who brood over losses always miss the next opportunity, which more than likely will be profitable. Split your profits right down the middle and never risk more than 50% of them again in the market. If I would have followed this one little suggestion, I would have been in a better position several times. The key to successful trading is knowing yourself and your stress point. The difference between winners and losers isn't so much native ability as it is discipline exercised in avoiding mistakes. So really, a good trader is not so much someone who can read the market and know where price is going to go, as much as the ability to stay disciplined and to follow a trade plan that avoids mistakes and losses as much as possible. Speech may be silver, but silence is golden. Traders with the golden touch do not talk about their success. Dream big dreams and think tall. Very few people set goals too high. A man becomes what he thinks about all day long. Accept failure as a step towards victory. Have you taken a loss? Forget it quickly. Have you taken a profit? Forget it even quicker. Don't let ego and greed inhibit clear thinking and hard work. One cannot do anything about yesterday. When one door closes, another door opens. The greater opportunity always lies through the open door. It's much easier to put on a trade than to take it off. If a market doesn't do what you think it should do, get out. Beware of large positions that control your emotions. Don't be overly aggressive with the market. Treat it gently by allowing your equity to grow steadily rather than in bursts. Never add to a losing position. And I might just add, if you've seen the video that I made about scaling into a negative position, unless you have a plan of how to do that to add to a losing position because you anticipated that price could go up a certain distance before reversing and going down, unless you have a plan and know exactly how much you're going to risk, then yes, you should never add to a losing position if all you're doing is entering one main solid position. But if you watch the video that I'm talking about how to scale into a negative scale into a position, there is a way to do that, which can actually be beneficial. So if you haven't seen that, take a look at that video. Otherwise, this point definitely stands. Beware of picking tops or bottoms. Believe it or not, I love trying to pick tops or bottoms. I actually have lost a lot of money trying to do that. The reward is that when you can or do end up picking a top or bottom, sometimes you have failed attempts along the way, but when you do, you might get the full ADR, the average daily range, which is a lot of pips for a small risk. However, sometimes you can try 3 or 4 or 5 times trying to get the top or the bottom before you actually get it. Sometimes you can try 3 or 4 or 5 times and never get it because price continues going that way. So it is a trade-off. It's not easy to do. It's a rough and a rugged road. There are lots of bumps and scratches along the way. But if you have the patience and you're not going to get totally burnt out on getting stopped out in an attempt, it can be a fun way to trade a good risk to reward ratio. In a narrow market, there is no sense in trying to anticipate what the next big movement is going to be, up or down. A loss never bothers me after I take it. I forget it overnight. But being wrong and not taking the loss, that is what does the damage to the pocketbook and to the soul. Never volunteer advice and never brag of your winnings. Pretty hard one to do, isn't it? Because You never hear traders in a Skype room or on a forum talking about all of their losses, like I just lost this and I just lost that. You do hear them talking about their winners. Just won this, just made that. The funny thing is, you never know how many winners in relation to the losses they've had for the last day, week, month, or year. So this is a good point, one which I really need to do better on. Of all speculative blunders, there are few greater than selling what shows a profit and keeping what shows a loss. Standing aside is a position. It is better to be more interested in the market's reaction to new information than in the piece of news itself. If you don't know who you are, the markets are an expensive place to find out. In the world of money, which is a world shaped by human behavior, nobody has the foggiest notion of what will happen in the future. Mark that word, nobody. Thus, the successful trader does not base moves on what supposedly will happen, but reacts instead to what does happen. Except in unusual circumstances, get in the habit of taking your profit too soon. Don't torment yourself if a trade continues winning without you. Chances are it won't continue long. If it does, console yourself by thinking of all the times when liquidating early reserved gains that you would have otherwise lost. When the ship starts to sink, don't pray, jump. Lose your opinion, not your money. Assimilate into your very bones a set of trading rules that works for you.